going to get started on our next round of demos.
Okay.
So first I'm going to introduce my colleague Scott in the middle. He's got his two volunteers on his right and left. And let's kick things off. So what you're looking at on the big screen is the actual 3D depth vision of our next generation Kinect sensor running on the Xbox One. If I can get you all to move a little bit closer, we're going to start to show off some of the incredible detailing you have available.
Yeah, right there.
You can see the detail of their lanyards, you can see the wrinkles in their shirt, you can see their articulated figures, really phenomenal fidelity, 3 times the fidelity of what we had with the Xbox One sensor. Beyond the fidelity, I'm going to point out the greatly improved field of view. So Scott, go ahead and get as close as you can. Alright, so take a look at how close he is to the sensor. No matter what your living room configuration is, you're going to be able to participate. We've got a phenomenal field of view. So Scott, go ahead and take a walk all the way to the back. So, you saw as close as you can get, you saw as far away as you can get, so phenomenal field of view. We have the whole play space covered with our next generation depth map. So this is great for our software algorithms, but it's kind of hard for people to read. So for people, we have our HD 1080p color feed. So if you want to have a Skype experience in the living room, or if you want to pull a player into the game, you can take advantage of this incredibly high resolution, high clarity, high detail color feed to bring the player into the game. The only problem with the color feed is that it's dependent upon lighting. So we gave our next generation Kinect the ability to see in the dark. And what you're looking at right now is our active IR feed that is exclusive to our next-gen sensor in the Xbox One. You can truly see in the dark. But beyond the ability to see without any lights on, it can also subtract out any ambient light in the room as well. Scott, if I can get you to take your flashlight out. So you can see the color feed superimposed, and as Scott is shining the flashlight on his face, he's simulating a table lamp or a spotlight or a track light. And you'll notice how the color feed is becoming a little bit unusable, and the active IR feed continues to come through clean. It's not disturbed by the lighting at all. You can also see that we're subtracting out the light from this large TV in the background as well. So kind of no matter what the conditions are, we're able to run our computer vision software tracking on top of it. We have a great platform by which we can do everything. So that really covers the software, the hardware capabilities. Now we're going to talk about the software capabilities that we built on top of it, starting with our next generation skeletal tracking. So right away you'll see we have our 3 skeletons being tracked in real time, high fidelity. We have 25 joints per player. We can track up to 6 players simultaneously. Take a look at the realism in their movements, the expressiveness. We have an articulated spine, their necks, their shoulders, elbows, feet, hands, the works. We've also got joints that cover the tip of hands and the tips of thumbs. So in real time, we're able to very, very accurately track what they're up to and represent how the bones are connected. So even beyond just a simple skeleton, we have orientation as well. So Blockman here can demonstrate how their bones are actually oriented next to one another. So they can rotate their wrists, they can pick their legs up and rotate it all around. They can move their head in little nose circles, and you can see we're representing that in real time as well. We're really getting true analog mastery with what's happening. No longer is it just, am I swinging a tennis racket or not, but am I putting top spin on it? Maybe a little bit of slice, a little bit of English on my bowling strike. So all this fidelity is what's available for all the games that can run on top of it. So we got the skeleton well covered, right? That's not really enough. You need to understand the muscles and what they're doing and what forces are being experienced. So that brings up Muscle Man. What this is a real-time human-based physics simulation built on top of our skeletal tracking platform and our next generation depth map. The intensity of the color represents the actual forces that they are feeling in their bones, in their joints, and in their muscles. So as they shift their weight between one foot and the other, you can actually see it represented on screen. If I can get all 3 of you to jump in the air together. As they're up in the air, they all turn green. Of course, they're not feeling any forces in the air, and then you can see it when they hit the ground. They can feel it, you can see it. How about a squat? Let's get kind of a medium squat from the 3 of you. You can see the pulls in the thighs. They're feeling it, we're seeing it. All being calculated in real time on the Xbox One. So just beyond, the muscles and the gravity of what's happening, you can track force from punches as well. So give me some tight jabs. You can see the small circles kind of representing the force. All right, now I want you to really get into it. Shift your weight, put your back into it. And you can see the difference that makes. You can pick up those subtle shifts in weight and really understand the changes in momentum that are happening.
All that weight transfer, how much force?
So any great trainer will tell you, knowing what's happening on the outside of the body is fantastic information. You need one more thing, you need heart rate as well. The Scott's going to step forward for this next part. And then what we're doing here is we're using our high definition color feed and our active IR feed to literally read his pulse in his face. Every time his heart beats, there's very subtle changes in his skin tone around his veins. You know, slight changes in color and intensity that's imperceptible to the human eye. And with our next generation sensor, the Xbox One, we're able to pick it up. And Scott's, healthy as a racehorse, like always. Thanks, Scott. So moving on to our player info block. You go one more step forward for me. All right, I'm going to talk about expressions. We're able to track in real time if people are feeling happy or neutral. So they get you all to smile at the same time. Some of them are feeling happy and some of them are feeling neutral. So as they switch back and forth, we can track it in real time. Imagine the gameplay scenarios where you're trying to buy a piece of armor at a shop, and if you smile at the right time, maybe you'll get a discount. Or maybe you're negotiating with an enemy, and if you smile at exactly the wrong time, you're going to get yourself into a lot of trouble. So we're getting true player immersion happening here. Beyond, the happy or neutral, we also have the engagement classifier. When they're looking at the screen, they're engaged. If you guys want to turn away slightly, they're no longer engaged. So if Scott were to look at the Xbox and say Xbox pause, it knows to listen to it. If he looks slightly away and says Xbox pause, it knows to ignore him. This is a really, really basic human communication tool that we all use and know every day. We're giving that knowledge and that intuition to the Xbox One as well. So Scott, why don't you go on ahead and grab a controller now. Go ahead and grab a controller, Scott. Alright, so you can see that Scott's holding controller 1. Even though he's picked up the controller, everything's still happening. We're still tracking, we're still knowing if he's smiling or not, everything's still going on. Why don't you go and add that to one of your friends there. Alright, so in real time, nobody pushed any buttons. We can see that he's handed off the controller. Why don't you guys play a little bit of hot potato together, pass it all around, and why don't you switch spaces while you're at it. Why don't you go ahead and switch spots with somebody too. Alright, so we know who's holding what controller. As they're rotating around, we can automatically update the split screen experience based upon where they are in the room. So even moving on from that, Scott has the controller in his hand, it has 2 thumbsticks on it. We decided we wanted a 3rd thumbstick, so we turned his body into the 3rd thumbstick. So as he's leaning, as he's playing his game, as he's getting totally into it, we're using the angle of his spine relative to the rest of his body to create a complete 3rd analog joystick that's running all the time. So you can see all 3 of them are getting into it, they're all moving again. The next generation Kinect sensor running on the Xbox One hardware, support up to 6 people at a time. I want to thank our volunteers for coming up, and I'd love to get 3 more people up here if they don't run off. So we can get 6 people tracking at a time. So come on up, don't be shy.
Why not? I'll give it a try.
Come on up, come on up. So let's get a couple more. Let's get 6 folks in here. Fantastic. Go ahead and line up across the back. You got to make sure that you're not blocking each other. We don't have X-ray vision working just yet, but we're working on it. All right, there you go. You got everybody. All right, let's see the wave. Have a little fun. All right, everybody can wave hello. Let's see, your best kind of robot. Who's got the best robot? Fantastic. Now just have fun outdoing each other. Feel free to come and go as you please off the stage. Take pictures of yourself. Enjoy the fidelity. Get a close-up, hands-on experience, and we'll do this little presentation again in about 15 minutes or so.